Honourable members, the time is now 1:50, and that brings us to oral question period. And the Leader of His Majesty's Loyal Opposition has the call.
Mr. Speaker, Albertans want to move forward, but this Premier is determined to hold us back. Invoking the so-called Sovereignty Act is either illegal or a dishonest stunt to claim it is. Either way, the Premier's actions will jeopardize investment certainty, weaken the nation, ignore the rule of law, breach treaty rights across the country and here in Alberta, and declare that we're on the wrong side of fighting climate change. To the Premier, why is she putting her own extremist politics ahead of economic common sense?
The Honourable the Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I see the Leader of the Opposition is true to form, opposing something she hasn't even read and still has apparently not read, the Alberta Sovereignty Within a United Canada Act. It will do none of those things. In fact, what it is going to do is it's going to push back against a lawless federal government that, incidentally, is supported by her federal leader. If she should actually stand with us in making sure that we have affordable, reliable electricity for Albertans, because that's what this motion is all about.
The Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, many of those facts are untrue. Misleading Albertans does seem to be par for the course with this government. What is true is energy experts, investors, and forward-looking Albertans all believe we can and should achieve net zero much sooner than 2050, attracting billions of dollars in investments and creating tens of thousands of jobs. These Albertans know that, like so many of this Premier's claims, they can't trust her information to be reliable. To the Premier, why won't she just stop playing politics and start acting like the Premier Albertans need her to be?
The Honourable the Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think people would wish that the Leader of the Opposition would stand on their side instead of constantly defending the federal government that is acting in a lawless way. We all know that net zero by 2035 is simply not possible. Not only has our electric system operator has said so, the operator in Saskatchewan has said so, the operator in Ontario has said so, our industry leaders have said so. What we are working towards is net zero by 2050. And indeed, some of our companies may be able to get there a few years earlier, but we need to create maximum flexibility in order to achieve our targets.
The Honourable the Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, soon Alberta will have the opportunity to tell its story at COP. And instead of attracting international investors in clean energy, this Premier is going to tell them that she doesn't understand the rule of law, she doesn't understand the science, she doesn't understand what's possible, and she isn't taking the threat of climate change seriously. Instead, she's saying she wants to leave trillions of dollars of investment on the table and risking the jobs that would come with it. To the Premier, why won't she just drop this unconstitutional temper tantrum and instead focus on securing Alberta's economic future?
The Honourable the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it's the federal government that is not following the Constitution. And I would invite the Leader of the Opposition to read the Constitution, Section 92A, which gives the province exclusive jurisdiction to develop policy and law around electricity generation, transmission, and conservation. In fact, it's the federal government acting in a lawless way. We are standing up for the law. If she had any influence on her federal leader, then she should ask them to abide by what the Constitution says and support us in a target of reaching carbon neutrality by 2050.